All right, guys, moving into the next section. Section 7.3 is on your income statements. So this is the whole taxes chapter. So you guys, how many of you have a job right now? All right, when you took the job, did you have to fill out a W-4? Does anybody remember filling out a W-4? Maybe, yeah? So we're going to talk about like a W-4, 1099, we're talking about a W-2, we're going to look at all those random named forms that you kind of hear about. We're going to talk about what all those are today. So first thing is a form W-4. This is an employee's withholding allowance certificate. So this is what you guys would usually fill out when you take a new job. Employers withhold the deductions and send the amount to the appropriate government agency. So what you're doing when you're filling out the W-4 is you were telling wherever you're working for, like how many people are in your family, like how many of you were claiming. So, and you can kind of change this depending on how much you want them to take out of your check. The more that you claim, like for my family, it's me, it's my husband, and we have 3 kids, so there's 5 of us. The more I claim on that form, the less money they take out. So if I would claim 5, they're going to take a lot less money from my check because they're assuming I need that money because I have a bigger family. But if I would claim like 0 or 1 or 2, something smaller, they're going to take more. And you're like, why would you ever want them to take more? I mean, no. Why would I want them to take more out of my check? Yes. Because end of the year, I don't want them to come back and be like, hey, we didn't take enough money from you throughout the year, and you now owe us like $4,000 in taxes. I would cry because I'd probably try to sell something else besides the house, but yeah. So you have to be kind of careful here. This is where a lot of people are not exactly completely honest, I guess is the thing. You don't have to truly say how many people you really have in your family. Like I think mine is like 0 or 1 because they take more out of my pay. Because I want to make sure come end of the year, I don't want to owe in taxes. I like a nice tax return at the end. Pet does not count. It has to be somebody with a social security number. All right, so that's your W-4. You will fill that out anytime you get a new job somewhere. That's just them trying to figure out how much money should we hold on and take for taxes for you. And then a W-2, wage and tax statement. Statement listing all withholding data for the year. Employers are required to provide W-2s to employees by the end of January. You must submit a copy of your W-2 when you file your taxes. So this is usually, tax time. The tax deadline's April 15th. A lot of people try to file taxes as soon as they can come January, but you have to wait until you get your W-2s from your employers. Like my husband's employer, like when we worked in Findlay, his employer there, I swear to you, it was like January 31st. They finally sent it out because by law, they have to have it to you by the end of January. They were so late in getting that out. Working here, I usually get mine in the first week of January. So that means I can file my taxes as soon as I have that. Okay, but you cannot file your taxes until you have your W-2. Your W-2 is going to list for it on there all the money that your boss at your job, how much money they withheld from you. It's going to tell on that how much you made throughout the year, how much of your checks every week, how much of them went to taxes, to federal, to state, to city. It's going to kind of break all of that down for the whole year. But if you don't have that info, you don't know how to file out your tax returns and figure out if you're going to get a refund or not. And if you work more than one job, you will have one for every job you work. Okay, they come from each employer. So it's always fun when my husband was coaching at 2 different schools and he worked somewhere else, and I taught like workout classes on the side, so I had another, we had like 5 or 6 W-2s for the 2 of us. It's ridiculous. We don't do all that anymore. We just have 2. Do you guys know what a W-2 looks like? Have you gotten one in the past? No. Those of you that worked the last year, you would have gotten one, January of this last year. The unfortunate thing is, when you guys get your W-2s for this, like in January, I won't have you anymore. We won't be in this class. So like next semester when I teach this class, we usually teach taxes pretty early in the semester because then that helps kids when they actually have to do their taxes, they know how to do them. For you guys, we won't be in this class anymore come January. It's just sad, isn't it? Guys, we're down to like weeks before the end of the semester. I mean, we have this week, next week, and we have Explore Penna next week, and then we have 2 days, Monday, Tuesday, and then we're off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for Thanksgiving. Then you guys don't have school that following Monday because we have teacher in-service day. But I mean, then we're like almost to December. Thanksgiving break. You guys get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the next Monday off. I don't get that Monday. I'll be here. I know. Think of me on that Monday. Amanda?
My English teacher said this is my last full week of class.
Holy cow. For the month of November, yeah. It really is. I heard Friday weather is supposed to be maybe like a slushy mess Friday morning. And then I heard possible like accumulating snow next Tuesday and Wednesday. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. I don't feel like we're ready for snow. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm always ready for snow, but I can't believe it's coming already. Oh, sorry, Riley. Sorry, Riley. You just got to yell at me.
Yeah, I think I'm working on Black Friday, so pray for me.
At Bath and Body Works, wow, it's gonna be so bad.
Now, well, no, people are crazy. No, but I got to ask. Now, when you say Black Friday, is it truly Friday, or are you working Thanksgiving night? I hate, by the way, that they push Black Friday to like Thanksgiving. That's crap. Thanksgiving, you should be with your families. Friday. It was more fun when you like waited for like those 5 a.m. sales, but now when it's Thanksgiving, you're like, come
I
on.
think the day before that is Candle Day, and that's like a Black Friday in its own. So, yeah.
You're probably the only guy in there, right? So you better like be ready to fight all those big crowds for everybody. Amanda? Good? All right. Okay, next thing is a Form 1099. Yeah. A 1099 you receive instead of a W-2. It's income made from interest on bank accounts, stocks, royalties, or providing a service as your own employer. Those are all examples why you receive a 1099. So could you get a W-2 and a 1099? Yes, I do every year. I get my W-2 from being a teacher here at Penna, and then I get a 1099 because I have interest that I earned on bank accounts and things. I don't have any stocks, and I don't earn royalties on anything, unfortunately, so I don't get it for those. But I get it for interest on bank accounts. But a 1099, just like a W-2, is showing money that you've earned, okay? Because you have to report all that to the government. So a 1099 is money that you've earned. So it's money that you made from interest, money you made from stocks, from royalties and things. So it's all part of your income that has to be reported. What do you think providing a service as your own employer is? Max? Yeah, absolutely. Good. You can make good money doing that. You got to be careful who you allow to rent from you, though. You could have a lot of damage done. You got to screen people thoroughly.
No, he has his own Wi-Fi access in his house. He charges people money to use it because in the area there's not a lot of connection. But in his house is like really good. So he charges people to use it. So he makes money while sleeping.
That's hilarious. That's funny. I don't want Riley to yell at me again. Yeah, Riley yells. Don't you hear him all the time? Just like him and Logan over there. So loud. I mean, and Michael and Tyler, right? They are out of control. And Vanessa too. Loud child. Seriously, like that table and that table, like the quietest tables I've ever seen. They don't say boo to anybody. No, none of you really are that loud. All right, we good? Good? All right. There we go. All right, so let's actually get into some of the math of all this, okay? So Barbara started a new job and wants to verify her net pay. What's net pay? That's her take home. Good. Net pay is take home. She wants to make sure it's computed correctly. So her gross pay, so that's how much she actually made before taxes and all that stuff, is $269.75. She has the following deductions. What's FICA tax? What's the F stand for? Federal. That's your federal tax. So federal tax is 6.2%. Medicare tax is 1.45%. Do you remember we talked about federal and Medicare before? Which one's taxed only up to a certain amount? Federal. And what about Medicare? It's on everything. No matter if you made millions of dollars, they're still charging you on all of it. Okay. Let's see. Federal withholding, $47.51. State withholding tax, $16.62. Retirement insurance contribution, $9. Disability insurance, $2.56. Medical insurance, $12. And dental insurance of $6. What should her net pay be for this period? Whew, that's a lot of stuff being taken out of her account. So which one do we have to actually calculate? Yeah, we have to calculate the federal and the Medicare. Those are the only ones that gave me a percentage as opposed to just a flat, here's what the rate is. So let's figure those out. So we'll have to do 6.2% times to 269.75. We have to actually calculate how much was taken out for those. So $16.72. And then we'll have to do Medicare, which is 0.145% of 269.75. So that one's $3.91. All right, so then if I want to figure out all of her total withholdings, so how much stuff is being taken out of her check, what do I have to do? Good. Add them all up. Good. And then subtract from how much she made. So let's first calculate what are her total withholdings. I don't think there's two H's in that. I think I have an extra H. Total withholdings? I don't know. That looked weird. All right. So all together. So we're adding together her federal tax, the Medicare, and then we have all of these other things they told us up here that are being taken out of her check. Holy smokes. So if we add up everything that's coming out of her check, it is. So how much altogether is coming out, the total withholdings? Yeah. Good. $114.32. So that's how much is coming out to cover all of those things they have listed. So then what is her net pay then? So we're going to have to take how much she grossed, $269.75, minus all of her deductions or all her withholdings, whatever you want to call those. So she actually gets to bring home, Joanne? Woohoo! Look at that big money right there, guys. Isn't being an adult fun? Amanda? I agree. All right. Is that good money? I mean, that's for an entire pay period. I mean, we don't know if that was weekly, bi-weekly. I mean, $155, even if that's a week, it's not much. She's got a cardboard box somewhere. Maybe a nice one. Good duct tape, you know. All right, what percentage of Barbara's gross pay for this pay period accounts for all of her deductions? Round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So this is like the one on homework from last night, where you had to find your percent. So think about again if I was like a test. You had a 19 out of 20 on something. You would just divide those, right? So out of her total gross pay, so her gross pay was $269.75. That was her gross. All right. It wants to know what percentage accounts for all of her deductions. So what number goes on top? 114.32, because it asked for deductions. So guys, you're going to have to look because it asked for gross pay, which is the bottom number, and then deductions. So those are the two numbers. It didn't say what percent is her net pay of the gross, then you would do the net. But it wants deductions. So that's the 114.32. So what percent of her pay was actually taken out? John? Yeah. Nearest tenth? 42.4. So 42.4% was taken out. Yeah, that's disturbing. Yeah, it is. Welcome to being an adult. All right. Example 2. Leslie works for blank corporation. His annual salary is $57,285.50. So we have lots and lots of parts to this, asking us many questions, all based on they just giving us the annual salary. Okay. So what is Leslie's annual Social Security deduction? What percent of Social Security? 6.2%? Totally what you meant, right? Social Security is 6.2. What's Medicare? You should know this. Thank you. Kyle knew it. He wasn't even looking at anything. Look at him. He told me what it was. All right, so you should know Social Security is 6.2, Medicare is 1.45. Okay. So what is the Social Security deduction? How do I find that? Just multiply it, yeah. So we're going to take the annual salary and we multiply it by 6.2%. Okay, so that's how we find, and again, it asked for annual, so we have to deal with their annual salary. So their annual deduction is $3,551.70. So over $3,500 every year goes right into your federal tax. Or Social Security, sorry. Social Security. All right, what is Leslie's annual? So we're still dealing with her annual salary for Medicare. Same idea, we just multiply it by the Medicare percentage. So multiply that by 1.45%. So for the year, $830.64. So right there between Social Security and Medicare, Leslie has lost, what, over $4,000? Just like that, gone. All right, it is. Part C, Leslie is paid every other week. What is his biweekly gross pay? Well, biweekly is how many times a year? That's 26. So we take the annual salary and divide that by 26. So each pay is $2,203.29. Have we done all these types of calculations before? Yeah, we've done all this. Nothing new here. All right, part D. Each pay period, Leslie's employer deducts $418.63 for federal withholding tax. Holy crap. You guys ever look at that when you get your pay stubs? How much of your check goes to like taxes and whatnot? If you get a, that's not terrible. Yeah, like over half my check is gone when I look at it. If I look at how much I gross, I'm like, holy crap, look at all that money. And then I look how much I brought home, and you're like, it's disturbing. Half my money's gone. I don't even get to see it. There we go. So what percentage of Leslie's yearly salary is deducted for federal withholding? So we want yearly salary, and we want what else? What other number? Because they want a percentage, so I have to divide something by something. I'm doing their yearly salary, and am I using this number? Is it only $418 per year? That's per pay period. So if you're going to use the yearly salary, you need to look at for the year on how much is being taken out, right? They have to match. Either they're both biweekly or they're both yearly. So we need to multiply this one by 26 so that we can figure out how much federal is taken out for the year. So for the year is taken out is $10,884.38. And then again, if it wants that percentage, again, think of it as like I got a 19 out of 20 on my test, right? So 10,884.38 of the yearly salary, which they gave us at the top, was $57,285.50. So what percent is that? So you would just have to divide their yearly withholdings for federal divided by their yearly salary. Joanne walked out of the room, so no one else calculates anything for him. What'd you get, Michael? I know you calculate stuff back there. Perfect. 19% of all of their money that they make goes straight to federal tax. That's disturbing. I hate even thinking about this kind of stuff. All right, part E. If Leslie is taxed at an annual rate of 3.65% for city tax, how much is deducted from his salary per paycheck for city tax? So what would I need to do with the 3.65%? Multiply that? Do I have to multiply it by the yearly, or could I just go ahead and multiply that by how much he makes biweekly? Because it wants to know per paycheck. Amanda? We don't want to divide the percentage. We're going to want to, you can go either way. If you multiply this by his yearly, that's fine, but then it wants per paycheck, so you'd have to take that answer and divide it by 26. Or, since it wants per paycheck, I can just use how much he grosses per paycheck, which we had already calculated, right? The 2203. Yeah, I can do the 2203.29, and I can multiply that by the 3.65%. If I did it times the yearly salary, I have to divide that by 26 to get his per paycheck one. So you can go either way. All right, so how much for city tax? Every paycheck is $80.42. $80 from every paycheck goes to city taxes. So when you start to hate taxes, when you really look at it, that's why I choose to be ignorant and just stop looking at it, because it's depressing. I don't think that's the right answer either. All right, part F. Leslie's net pay for each pay period is $1347.34. So that's how much he brings home. Okay. What percent of his biweekly gross pay is deducted from his salary to yield this net pay amount? Divide what? I disagree. I agree that I'm going to be dividing by how much he makes, right? His gross pay. I'm going to divide by the 2203.29 because that's his gross per pay. Because that's what it wants, biweekly gross pay. All right, so every time I'm looking for those percentages, I'm looking for what two numbers am I supposed to be comparing. The biweekly gross pay, got that. Leslie's net pay is $13.47. What percent of his biweekly gross pay is deducted from his salary? So if he brings home $13.47, it's asking what percent is deducted. So how much is deducted every paycheck? If he grosses $2,200 and brings home $13.47, how much is deducted then? So I have to do the 2203.29. I have to subtract how much he brings home. Because it wants to know how much is deducted from his paycheck. The $1,300 says net pay. That's not how much is deducted. So I need to subtract those. And I get $855.95. Those are his deductions. And it kind of reads a little differently on that one. So they told you it was net pay, but then they said what percent is deducted? Well, how much is deducted? $855.95. So what percentage is that? 39%. Now, back to Joanne originally wanted to just take his net pay and divide it by gross. Okay, there's another option there. If you had done net pay divided by gross pay, you would have found what percentage he, what? What do you think? If you did net divided by gross, you would find what percentage is what? What are you finding? What's net pay? What's what he's bringing home? So if you had done net divided by gross, you would have found what percent does he bring home? Then you could have subtracted that from 100%. That means 39% of it is actually taken out. It's deducted. So you can think of that two different ways. All right, part G. As of January 1st, Leslie will receive a 12.5% raise. What will Leslie's new annual salary be? What do I do there? The 12.5, just 12.5 exactly? 12.5% makes a big difference. Yeah, so if you multiply 12.5%, 0.125, right? We multiply that by how much he made per year? $57,285.50. So what is that number going to be when you calculate that? Is that his new salary, what you're finding? You're finding? Good. You're finding how much his raise is, what's going to be added on. So you're going to have to take that, and you're going to have to add that to his salary. All right, so he gets a raise of $7,160.69. Then you have to add that to how much he was making to find the new salary, which is $64,446.19. That's a pretty decent raise. It's an incredible raise, actually. But typically, if you make more, what typically happens? You usually tax you more. But this question says if the percentage of his biweekly deductions remains the same. So if the percent would stay the same, what percent gets taken out every week or every pay? We found what percentage? We found 39% actually comes out every pay. That's how much gets lost. So what would his new net pay be for each pay period? Right, so we're talking biweekly. So what should I do first? Because the $64,000 I found is his yearly salary. Yeah, let's divide that by 26. So his new annual salary was $64,446.19. Let's divide that by 26 to find out how much he's going to make then per pay. $2,478.70. All right, so that's his new gross pay. Okay. So if that's my new gross pay, and I know that 39% gets taken out, let's multiply that by 39%. So 2478.70 times 39%. 966.69. What did I just find? What is the 966.69? That's his deductions. Is that what the question wanted me to find? How much was being taken out? What's the question asked for? His new net pay. So now what do I have to do? Good. So I have to take his gross, and I have to subtract off all those deductions now. So we can figure out roughly then how much he actually will get to bring home. So his new bring home would be $1,512.01. What was his bring home before? Did we have his net pay in there at some point? Did we ever calculate that? Or did we have it? Yeah. Net pay, they had told you originally was $13.47. So now he's going to bring home $15.12 every 2 weeks. So that's good. Bringing home a lot more every 2 weeks then. Whew, that was a lot in that one. How are we doing? All right. Example 3.
Wait, we still got more?
Of course we still have more.
That was like the whole packet right there.
No, there's a lot on that one. The rest of them weren't so bad, though. They're not as long. So examine Lorna's biweekly pay stub. Assuming Lorna's salary and deductions remain the same throughout the calendar year, how much will be taken out of her total annual gross salary for federal and state? So we want to know, based on her total annual gross salary, how much is coming out for federal and state. So take a look at her pay stub. There's a lot of info on there. What are the only numbers I need to look at? Federal and state. Those are the ones they want me to look at. So federal, do I want to look at the amount or what's YTD? Year to date. That means for the entire year up to this point, how much have they taken out? That's what that means. Okay, so you'll always see two numbers on your pay stubs. They'll tell you this is how much came out from this pay period, and this is how much we've taken out so far in the year. So every pay stub, this number gets higher and higher because it's just totaling the year altogether for you. But I care about per pay. So the question asks, her biweekly pay stub, assuming her salary and deductions remain the same, how much would be taken out of her total annual gross salary for federal and state? So do I need to know what her annual gross salary is? Or do I just need to answer how much is coming out for federal and state? Just federal and state. I didn't ask. And now if I wanted a percentage, then I'd need to calculate her salary. And then do what with them? Add them together, yeah. Let's go ahead and add them together first. So 1,001.47. I'm going to add the 280.89. I'm going to add them together. So 1282.36. So that's all together how much? And then if I want it for the whole year, and she's paid bi-weekly, you multiply by 26. So $33,341.36. $33,000 is going to come out for the year. I hope she makes a lot of money. Could you figure out how much she makes? Could you figure out how much she makes from looking at that? I know, but I'm just curious. I mean, if she's getting $33,000 taken out, how much does she make? Look at the pay stub. Do you have enough info on that pay stub to tell me how much she makes for the year? How? Yeah. Yeah. So you'd have to multiply that by 26. She makes $119,000 a year. She's losing $33,000 of it. That's just federal and state. Is that the only thing that comes out of her paycheck? Huh. Social Security, Medicare, she's got union, she's got health insurance, retirement. Yeah. A lot. She's all right. I mean, that's real life. It really is. All right. Example 4. On January 30th, Joanne Toscano received this W-2 form from her employer. How much did Joanne pay in taxes during the year? All right, now guys, I want you to kind of get used to looking at what a W-2 looks like. And especially if you've never had a job, you've maybe never even seen one before. So this is an example of a W-2. They're usually just like little small sheet of paper. It's not a whole page. A lot of times they'll send you like a whole page and then they're like perforated, so you have numerous copies of the same thing. That way if you have to send it to different places. But they're pretty small. But they have some information on there. They're going to have your social security number, so you always want to make sure that is correct. That way you're being credited for everything appropriately. It's going to have your employer's ID number. When you file taxes, you have to be able to put that number in. It's going to have your employer's name and address. It will have your name and address. State ID number again down here. And then it's got all these, your state wages, your state income tax, local wages, local income tax. Here's all up here. You have how much your wages were, your Social Security wages, your federal income tax withheld, and your Social Security tax withheld. It's a lot of info on there. All right, so looking at all of that, the question asked, how much did Joanne pay in taxes? Now, Social Security taxes on here, we are not going to include that for your taxes. Because Social Security and Medicare are kind of those health benefit ones. When I'm asking you about taxes, I'm asking you about federal, state, and city. Okay, so when I refer to taxes, I am referring to your federal taxes, your state taxes, and then your city or local, depending on how it's worded on your paper. Okay, that's what I'm referring to, not Social Security, not Medicare. I'm looking at all of your state stuff, your federal, your state, your city, all of that. Okay, so the question just asked, how much did she pay in taxes? So do we have federal listed on here? Yep, it's right up here at the top. There's federal. Do you have state? State wages or state income tax? What am I looking at? Your tax. And then your local tax or your city taxes are right there. So when I'm asking for how much did she pay in taxes, I'm looking at those three, and we want to add those three together. So she paid total for taxes $22,287.50. All right, so you're just adding all those together, your federal, your state, and your city or local. Add them all together. All right, and then what percent of Joanne's gross income did she actually take home? And again, I'm just talking about the taxes that we just calculated. Good, you subtract that from her wages. What did she make? She made $76,350. And let's subtract the taxes we just calculated to get her net pay, right? So her net pay was $54,062.50. And then we divide that by how much she actually made. Okay, so anytime they're talking about percentages, you have to look what two things are they referring to. We're talking about her gross income, which was $76,350. How much did she take home? Well, you have to subtract the taxes from that. That's her net pay. So what percent did she take home? 70.8%. All right, we're getting there, guys. Hang with me. I know, we got a lot to get through today. All right, Amy Springfield works for Pound Ridge Financial Planners. Her employer uses an electronic W-2 form as shown at the right. What accounts for the difference between her wages listed in box 1 and her Social Security and Medicare wages in boxes 3 and 5? Now, this is something when I first started doing things and becoming an adult and looking at all of this, I was very confused. I'm like, why is it different? And it's because of what you do with your money throughout the year. So they are being taxed right there on those wages. They're saying that she made $78,900. That's what she's being taxed on. But if you look below, it says her Social Security wages are $92,100. And so is Medicare. So obviously she hasn't maxed out, right? Because they're the same. But how come Social Security and Medicare is taxing me on $92,000, but the government's only going to tax me on $78,000? Why? Oh no, there's no cap on federal. There's not. So why is that different? Social Security has the cap on it. She hasn't reached it since it's the same as Medicare. What's the difference between those? Somebody calculate that. What's the difference between those two numbers? What's the difference? 13,200. Look at that W-2. Can you find $13,200 on there somewhere? There's 12,200. Is there another 1,000? Mm-hmm. Here and here. There's the 13,200 that you're seeing as that difference. Okay, if you look down here, there's some things on here that we need to talk about. You can do tax-deferred contributions. This is money placed in a qualified retirement account. Taxes on this money are deferred until she would make a withdrawal on that when she retires. So you can take your money, part of the money that you earn for the year, and you can put it into different tax-deferred accounts, meaning you won't actually pay taxes on that until you'd actually spend it when you retire. So they're not going to tax you on it now. So that comes off of your taxable wages. You can have a cafeteria plan. These are pre-tax wages for payment of Medicare, medical, child care, prenatal, non-reimbursed medical insurance expenses, etc. I actually just had a conversation, funny enough, with a friend of mine last night about this. There's a max on how much you can put into a cafeteria plan. I think it was $8,600 was the max. $2,600? I don't know. Something with the 6 on. I remember that. Yeah, prenatal care. Parental. That says parental, doesn't it? Not prenatal. Sorry. But what you can do is you can take part of your income and put it into a savings account, and then that is considered pre-tax. So they take that off of how much you make before they charge you taxes. So you're not getting charged taxes on it. Now, the only downside to an account like that is you have to spend it in that calendar year or you lose it. Now, the friend of mine I was talking to last night, they have twins who are both getting braces. So they went to the dentist yesterday to get the beginnings of their braces stuff done for them. and they went ahead and all the money they had in that cafeteria plan, they went ahead and put all of it and paid for part of their braces with it. Because they had put that money aside and did not have to pay taxes on it, and then they could use that for medical stuff. So they were able to use that. But like for my family, we have really good insurance that covers just about everything. So for us, we don't need a cafeteria plan. So I don't feel the need to put aside money ahead of time. I'm afraid that for my family, we wouldn't spend it in the year and I would just lose it. Okay, so if you're somebody that has like medications that you know every month you have to pay to get all your medications, that'd be something you'd want to do, is set up a cafeteria plan so you can put that money aside without being taxed on it, and then you could use that to pay for your medications every month. It's a way for you to not pay taxes on part of your income. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, sure can. Then you also have flexible spending accounts. It's an employer-sponsored plan in which employees choose to deposit funds that will be used for the sole purposes outlined above. So in here, only in the 12-month period. And this is, again, this is the type of plan that is. It's a use it or lose it type of plan. So if you don't use it, it's gone. So, but if you know that you're going to have those expenses, you can decide how much to put into that account every month. You can decide that, or every pay. And you can kind of choose what you want so that you know it's covered. But then you don't have to pay taxes on it. So that's exactly what happened up here. They have a cafeteria plan. They put $1,000 in for the year. And then this would be some other type of, probably retirement would be my guess, a tax deferred. So they won't pay taxes on that until they retire and actually use that money. Okay? So Amy pays 20% federal tax and 7% state tax. You don't have this one? Seriously? That's weird.
All right.
You're missing the entire last bit. Weird. All right, well, just pay attention. Oh, come on. You know we have to get through it. It's going to be on homework tonight. All right, well, you can at least pay attention with me, okay? So Amy pays 20% federal tax, 7% state tax. How much did she save in taxes by putting money in her tax-deferred and flexible spending accounts? So this is the same W-2 we just looked at, right? So what percent does she pay in federal and state? 27%. So if they had taxed her on the whole amount, $92,100 times 27%. If they had taxed her on the whole thing, if she had not put that $13,200 in tax deferred stuff, she would have paid $24,867 in taxes. But since she had these two things come out pre-tax, the government then only taxed her on $78,900 for her wages. So still 27%, but then they only took $21,303 in tax. So the question asks, how much did she save in taxes? What's the difference between those? She saved $3,564 in taxes. $3,500 she'd saved. She did not have to pay in taxes to the government because she put them in those different accounts. Still her money to use to cover medical things, but she did not have to pay taxes on it. What do you guys think? Is that a nice way to save some money? If you know you have medical expenses that you're going to use in the year, definitely look into doing something like that. All right, example 7, taxpayers' annual Social Security tax, $3,431.70. What's her gross annual salary? What do we know about Social Security tax? 6.2%. So you would what? Take 6.2% and you would multiply that by what? Normally. The gross salary, right? And then you would tell me that then is equal to $3,431.70, right? That's how we do that. We take the percentage times how much you make, tells me how much tax gets taken out. So just divide them. So their gross salary is $55,350. So, number 8, if I know their Medicare tax, and I'm supposed to go back to the gross. What's Medicare? You'd multiply that by X, their gross, and that would tell you the tax. So just divide again, and this time it was 38,000. All right, so those pretty simple. I think we've actually done that type in the past. All right, last one. So if I have some partial info from the W-2, can you calculate some of the other boxes for me? All right, so I want boxes 1, 3, 4, and 6. So 1, 3, 4, 6. So if I know the Medicare wages and tips, what other wages do I probably know? Social Security. We're assuming at this point that no one's maxing out, so you don't have to worry about that. So that should be the same, right? Can you tell me how much Social Security tax was withheld then? What do I do to find that? What do we know about Social Security? What percentage is that? 6.2. So all I have to do is multiply that by the 6.2% to get how much was withheld. So 4,531.83. How do if I go from Medicare wages, how do you multiply to find the Medicare tax? Multiply by 1.45%. So 1,059.86. How do you get the regular wages? There's other numbers on here. What's this? What is this? What's CAF 125? That's that cafeteria plan. That's money they're taking out to use pre-tax, right? What's this? Is that money also coming out pre-tax? So the government's not taxing me on those funds. So instead of them taxing me on 73,000, what do I have to do with those two numbers? I got to subtract those. The government's not going to tax me on that. Social Security and Medicare does, but the federal government will not. So we just need to take then Medicare and Social Security wages. We need to subtract these two numbers from it because the government's not going to tax me on that. They're only going to tax me then on 66,694. Okay, so those get subtracted off in order to find that. Okay, if I had given you this one, then you'd have to add those back on to find these numbers. So you will have a problem like this come quiz and test time where I will give you like one box or two boxes and you have to fill in other ones for me. Okay? If I gave you how much Social Security tax was withheld, you'd have to divide by the percentage to come back to the wages, right? You have to kind of work these forwards and backwards all over. Questions? I know it was a lot today. Sorry. Oh, we have homework.